I can actually speak a little Japanese myself. Oh, Godzilla. Don't come in here again. We're tired of you, Godzilla. Keep ruining our stuff.
She? Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TEE TV. My name is Charles, and today we're going to be discussing Predator Killer of Killers, Prey, and a little bit of speculation with Predator Badlands that's going to be coming out later this year around November. So with me today is Damian. And hopefully in like the next little bit, we're going to be getting Stone as well, if he decides to show up, which I hope. So,
Well, hello.
yeah. Yeah. So how you doing today, Damian?
I'm doing well.
Oh,
How are you
and
doing?
look at that. Look at that. I'm on camera.
It's been a while.
Yep, it's been a while. All right, but all right, I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. So I guess we'll start with Prey.
Yeah, start with Prey.
Yeah. So preliminary thoughts before we get into the meat and potatoes. What is your preliminary thoughts of Prey?
Uh, Overall, I was mm, trying to see. I'm trying to think of where I would rank it in the series. Probably my third favorite, maybe second.
You know, I've seen. Well, like we were discussing backstage, I haven't seen all of the Alien movies. I've seen some of them, but I haven't seen all of them. With the Predator movies, it's an entirely different alien. Different alien.
Yeah, I see what you did.
Yeah.
Look good,
But
you.
no, yeah, yeah. But no, with the Predator movies, I've seen pretty much all of them. I saw the 1987 movie long,
Yeah,
long time ago. I've seen it many times, but I've seen it several times since it first came out. Loved it. Oh man, I love the original Predator. It is such a good movie. I need to
like
see it again. I
yeah.
need to see it again.
I don't think
It
you
is,
can ever top that one.
you know, you
Like,
can't.
I
It
don't
is
see
so
what
good.
it's possible, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it is so good. It is so fucking good. Predator 2 with Danny Glover, pretty good. Not as good as Predator, or yeah, Predator, but it's not as good, but it's pretty good.
It's got some
Um,
great stuff in it, and
and it
just
has some
Danny
great
Glover.
stuff in it.
Like,
It has some great stuff in it, but it's not as good as the 1987 movie. Let's see, what's the next one that came after that? I
then
want
you
to
had the Robert Rodriguez one.
Predators, right?
Yeah,
That one was awesome. It is severely underrated. It is severely underrated, criminally underrated.
but
But
yeah.
and,
Walton Goggins, Danny Trejo,
Topher Grace,
Topher Grace, Lawrence
Lawrence,
Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne, yeah.
I feel like
Um,
there's someone else cool I'm
uh,
forgetting, but
Adrian Brody, he was the star.
Adrian Brody. Yeah,
Adrian Brody was the star. Um, that movie was phenomenal. I love that movie. I would love to go back and watch that again too. Um, let's see. And then of course there are the bad movies, such as The Predator.
didn't like that one.
No, I did not like that one at all. Oh man, that one was bad. It's just
I've only seen it the once, but I didn't hate it.
Look, I
It's
didn't
no,
like it. I
you
didn't. I
know,
thought it was dumb. And then, of course, the scene at the end of the movie where we got that Uber Predator armor, where like the scientist ends up wearing it, and then the soldier goes like, what is that? It's like, that's my suit of armor, and I'm like, are you fucking dumb? It's
like
like,
fucking boo.
boo. Get him like it's like that scene from Half Baked going like, boo this man, boo.
Boo.
It's like,
Throw your hat.
yeah. It's just like it's so freaking dumb. And then we have the Alien versus Predator movies, which is the one in Antarctica, which I liked. And then
Yeah,
we have
love
the
the
one
first
that we
one.
don't then we have the one we don't talk about, which is Requiem. Because fuck that movie. It's like,
They set up such a great premise and then just shat the like just diarrhea down the legs. It's just they fucked it.
they had the biggest, most delicious chili dog imaginable. And then they had the most disgusting, wet, runny case of diarrhea imaginable after that.
It just offends all senses.
Yes. I mean, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that scene in the Naked Gun trailer, the new Naked Gun trailer, where
Yeah.
Liam Neeson is just sitting in his car eating that chili dog, and then he's about to destroy his new pair of pants. Yeah,
And then does it happen with was it a chili dog the second time too?
I believe so. Like who
Doesn't matter.
does that? Like he has a chili dog the first time, he's about to destroy a perfectly good pair of pants, runs to the bathroom, gets rid of the line to the bathroom by shooting up the place to get people to run away, and then when he does his business in the bathroom, he goes back into his car, gets another chili dog, and decides to destroy another good, perfectly good pair of pants. And I'm like, huh? It's just I get it. It's the Naked Gun. It's all about slapstick comedy and just ridiculousness. But
Now that you say that, though, I am kind of hoping they do it back to back instead of spacing it out. You know, it happens half an hour later. Like it'd be so
yeah,
much better if it is just immediately afterwards.
yeah, that would be pretty funny. But no, back to Predator and everything. It's just what's the one that came after the Predator? Oh, Prey. After the
Right? Yeah.
Predator, we got Prey, and that one was just such a vast improvement compared to the Predator because the Predator was just. It wasn't as bad as Requiem, but it was still pretty bad. But then Prey came out, and it was a breath of fresh air because of the director. Dan Trachtenberg, I think is his name,
Yeah.
took over as director for the Predator franchise, and what he did with Prey was just chef's kiss. It was just so well done.
Like
I
if you're
mean,
gonna reboot a franchise like that, like that's how you do it.
yeah,
Bring
I
something
was a little
completely fresh to the table.
I was a little concerned with the whole time period having Comanche like natives going up against the Predator because you have a bunch of natives like indigenous like natives going up against the Predator with like spears and bows and arrows and
Like
tomahawks going up
essentially
against
throwing sticks and stones at
yeah,
this.
basically throwing sticks and stones up against the Predator that has advanced extraterrestrial weaponry. And I was like, really? I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. And I mean, when I saw the movie, I was like, okay, this is fucking working. It's like, what the hell? And
I
then
mean,
we had,
when you think about the first one, like obviously you remember the whole Schwarzenegger covering himself in mud, but how did he actually kill the Predator?
um,
I'm blanking. He blew it up somehow.
he didn't even kill him. He didn't.
He didn't?
What happened in the original Predator is he managed to pin him under a massive tree branch. He pinned him under a massive
Yeah.
tree branch with an explosion, and the Predator was still alive. The Predator was still
I thought he
alive
killed it.
after the Predator was still alive, and when Schwarzenegger, uh, I'm probably butchering his name. I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to use his first name. When Arnold first showed up and went up to the Predator, he noticed that the Predator was still alive. He lifted up this massive rock and was going to crush his face with a skull with the boulder. He lowered the rock and he like saw the Predator in all its glory and like saw his face, and he basically said one of his most iconic lines and said, "You are one ugly motherfucker."
You
And it's
ugly
just
motherfucker.
yeah,
I love
that's
it.
one of the most iconic lines from that
Yeah.
movie. And the Predator then mimicked what Arnold had just said. He then mimicked it back to him and said in this like guttural type alien like voice and said, "You are one ugly motherfucker."
That's
And
was that a clip from the movie? That was
I,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know, but then the Predator like lifted up its arm and then undid the whole like wrist thing and then pressed some buttons and started doing the whole like beep 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 beep, and Arnold for a second didn't know what was happening until it like clicked, and he was like, "That's a bomb," and
That's
then
right.
got
Yeah.
the hell out of there. And the Predator just started laughing, started like mimicking the laugh of like one of Arnold's teammates. And there was like this like maniacal, like evil laugh that was happening in the background as Arnold was leaving. And as Arnold got the hell out of there, the explosion happened. And it was like reminiscent of like this massive, massive explosion. And it Arnold managed to like take cover when the explosion happened, and that was the end. Like Arnold survived the explosion, but it was crazy. And
Yeah,
so
that was that little step I was missing. I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I was thinking he blew him up somehow, but no, it blew itself up.
yeah. The Predator had accepted defeat, and when Predator culture, the when the Predator is defeated in the process of fighting their prey, if they're defeated but they're not dead, they will kill themselves. They'll commit ritual suicide.
So
Yeah.
do you think it's just that, or it's like a bit of a last ditch effort as well to
They'll
try
do
and
it.
take
They'll commit ritual suicide in a way that will take out their prey as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
which is if you're gonna go out,
yeah. They'll take out as many people with them as well as they can. Yeah, and
yeah, that's definitely fun to watch
that's
that
what the
again.
Predator was trying to do when it blew itself up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
also
trying
forgot
to
about
take out
the
Arnold
voice
as well.
mimicking as well. That
Yeah.
was fucking was creepy.
Oh yeah, that was the whole point of it. Was that it was meant to be creepy. It was an intimidation tactic.
Yeah, because that would fuck with your head if like all of a sudden it's speaking back at you in something that's an approximation of you. Or yeah,
Yeah,
laughing like your recently deceased friend or something.
yeah. I don't remember which friend it was mimicking, but it was
Yeah, I can't
one of
remember either.
Arnold's teammates.
Yeah, might have been. I don't think it was Jesse Ventura. I don't think it was Carl Weathers either.
No, it wasn't him. It was one of the other ones. I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
But it wasn't Jesse Ventura and it wasn't Carl Weathers.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
That was Carl Weathers' character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah, the famous like slapping of the hands together that has been
It was
turned into a meme.
probably one of the most used memes of all time, potentially.
Yes.
I'd say I see
Yep.
that at least once a week about something different every time.
Yes, I've seen it a bunch of times as well, and it's funny every single time. Ugh. But I don't know. It's just in Prey, I would say, yeah, that was not intended to be rhyme to rhyme. In Prey, I would say. Ah. In Prey, I would say. But
Today.
yeah. But um where God damn it, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. But the thing that I like the most about Prey would have to be
The French people.
yes, the French people. No, not the
They
French
seem
people.
so jovial,
Yeah, so
but they're
jovial.
also French, so it's kind of like they're having fun, but Frenchies.
The Frenchies.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. I can never pronounce that because I don't speak French.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but no, it just I
Love
don't know. I mean, I
language.
like Naru. I do. I like Naru. I like her quite a bit. I thought she was pretty good. Um, a lot of people like from when the movie first came out, there was some criticism towards
Yeah, the
Naru.
old the what is it, the Mary Sue argument.
Yeah, they thought she was a Mary Sue. They did, and they also felt that um what was it they thought of her the Mary Sue argument was there, and they also felt that she was a strong, independent woman that didn't need no man kind of thing, and that there was just like typical strong woman argument and all that. That I don't know. I mean, I didn't get that from her. It's just
No,
they
she had
got
resolve, but she wasn't like like there was definitely some not fragility, but vulnerability there.
yeah, and also just how she was being treated by her tribe. How when they would go out on hunts
Hmm,
when they would go out on hunts and everybody else would get like the best kills, but she would basically be being treated as the runt, basically. Um, I don't know. That actually kind of felt like natural. Like
yeah,
it meant that it felt like a drive for her, a push for her to prove herself. It felt like for her to prove herself to the tribe, and that I'm jumping ahead here. I'm
hmm.
jumping ahead here, so forgive me for this. But when she finally went after the Predator and she managed to defeat him, I'm not going to go into details on as to how she defeated him. But when she defeated the Predator, she did prove herself to the tribe.
Because that's how the Predator was sort of introduced, right? It was a hunt gone wrong, and she went out to find.
Originally, her intention to try to prove herself to the tribe is that she was going to take on a bear.
Bear.
Yeah, she was going to take on a bear, but the bear proved to be too much for her, and she tried to take shelter in it was like some kind of like animal shelter. I think it was like something related to a beaver, and she took shelter in it. The bear chased her in there, and she was trying to like go into like the fetal position or something to try to like be non-threatening to the bear.
Hmm,
But that's when the predator showed up and grabbed the bear, but the predator was cloaked. So she didn't really see the predator because it was cloaked, but she saw that something was fighting the bear and she didn't know what it was. But when the
that's right.
predator killed the bear, the blood of the bear was like pouring onto the predator through the cloak, so she could see the outline of the predator from the blood. And she was like, "What is that? I
What
don't know
the
what that
fuck?
is." Yeah, she was like, "What the fuck is that?"
You think at that time it's like a fucking evil spirit? Like,
Yeah, basically that's what she thought it was. And like through most of the movie, she thought that what she was chasing, what she was going to fight, was a demon. She didn't know what it was. She thought it was a demon.
which I mean, on some level,
Yeah,
Predator's somewhat demonic. in a way.
Yeah. And I think at first when she tried to explain it to her tribe, they didn't believe her. Which further proves that she was like considered the runt. Oh, here, hold on a second. I'll just
Right.
do that. What's up, Kish?
Morning, Mr. Kish.
Yep. All right. And I don't know. I mean, it's just I don't know how she was treated by the tribe and how she kept using that as a push and a drive to do better and to constantly want to prove herself and to earn. That kind of comes off as the opposite of a Mary Sue.
And I don't think they ever made it about like her being a woman is why she was treated that way either.
Yeah, she was just
It's just, some people in the tribe are going to be treated that way.
yeah,
Sometimes probably rightfully so. Some
yeah,
in every group there is a weaker element.
yeah. She was the runt. She was the runt of the litter, I guess you could say.
Seems racist, but okay.
How is that racist?
Have you no shame? He's a proud people.
How does that make me racist?
The litter. Like they're animals.
No, it's an expression. I would say the same
I,
thing about
I know.
yeah.
I was just fucking with you.
Okay,
Relax, man.
yeah. But no.
Like, oh, my first day back on camera, and everybody thinks I'm racist, and they can see me.
Fuck.
Son of a bitch.
But no, seriously though, but no, it's just I don't know, it's just I don't really see how people would consider her a Mary Sue. I just think people are calling her that just for the sake of calling her that.
People just want to shit on things. That's
Yeah.
largely
But
what it boils down to.
yeah, but I never got that impression from her. I never
No.
did because my understanding of a Mary Sue is that a Mary Sue doesn't need to prove anything to anybody because she's automatically perfect at everything and everybody already loves her.
We've
Like
seen the new Star Wars movies. We know what a Mary Sue is.
Rey is just like God damn it, I fucking hate Rey. Just like I got nothing against Daisy Ridley. I got nothing against her. I don't like the character Rey. Oh my
It's like I picked up a lightsaber 5 minutes ago, and now I'm, jumping around cutting TIE fighters in half. Get the fuck out of here.
oh my god, that's right. She fucking did that. Oh,
Yeah, she did.
oh my god. She, you know what? Nope. No. No. I am not gonna go down that rabbit hole. No. Bad, Charles. Bad. Just like, no. I'm back to Predator. Back to Predator. Just like
Yeah,
Jesus.
there's enough shows out there being like, Star Wars stinks.
Yeah, it's just like, but no, it's
We
just
know. Everybody knows.
yeah.
But yeah,
Everybody knows Star Wars
back
sucks,
to Predator.
but yeah, but no, I don't know. I mean, I thought like the scenes where we have the Comanche fighters going up against the Predator were pretty cool. One of my favorite moments in the entirety of Prey is during the area in like what looked like the burned out forest with the fog and the ash, where we have the Frenchmen, the fucking Frenchies.
Those filthy, dirty, yeah.
The fucking Frenchies
Those fucking
fighting
baguettes.
fighting the Predator with their freaking muskets going up against the Predator. They fire at the Predator with their muskets, and the Predator holds up his shield and he's blocking the little pellets, and he's getting prepared for the next volley of fire. And he's
And
like,
he's sitting there like, okay,
all right, I'm waiting
looking at his
for it.
watch.
And then he just watches like, huh? It's like, oh, they gotta reload. All right. Now it's
Yeah, we need
my
like
turn,
at least 60
motherfuckers.
seconds. Not a, yeah.
Oh man. And then of course they brought back the net. My favorite Predator weapon. I love
And
that
that
weapon.
is glorious. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the net. Where they get caught in the net and then it just shrinks and just freaking minces them. Oh man, I freaking love that weapon. Oh man, it's so cool.
And I don't know if it heats up or if that's just sort of the way it seems to be.
I've seen it. I've seen it both ways, where it just like shrinks and just like cuts them and like minces them. But I've also seen it where it does that and then it also heats up. I've seen both.
Because I like like that's just, yeah, that extra little bit of just, oof. It's like not only is it mincing you, it's fucking hot while it does it.
Yeah. But the one where I've seen it where it's not hot is in Alien versus Predator. I've seen it, and that's the first time we've ever seen it, at least in movies. I don't know if they've ever done it in the expanded universe, but I have seen it in. That's the first time we've seen it in a movie. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
but in Prey, that is the first time we've seen it where it heats up. But yeah, and then of course with the shield, where he hits them up against the tree, and then it closes and decapitates them. And I'm like, oh man, Predator weapons are so satisfying.
And they got so many different ones too, as
Oh
we'll
man,
see coming
they
up.
get the best toys. Oh man, they get the best toys. Ugh.
Just something for every situation almost, it seems like.
Something for every occasion. They it's just like it's like fucking Christmas for every. It's like Christmas every day for a Predator. It's like, okay, I
Just
could have
imagine like,
worded that. I could have worded that better.
yeah, it's fine.
I should just call them by what their official alien name is. I should just stop calling them Predator. But because I mean jumping ahead, in Killer of Killers, they have now officially canonized the alien name of the Predators, the
Wait.
Yaucha.
Ah, okay.
The Yaucha. Yeah. The Yautja.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pronounced Yaucha. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. I could be mispronouncing it, but when I looked it up, it was like properly pronounced in that context. And yeah, on Killer of Killers, there's like that like line of text at the very first scene of the movie, and they actually have that word there in that line of text.
Ah, that's
So
why I'm forgetting it. I took that in, but you just sort of like you read it and you're like, okay, no, movie
yeah,
start.
but no, it's just that word Yaucha is a part of that line of text, and I'm like, if they put that name in that movie, that means that name is official canon now.
I wonder if that ever came before, like like in the expanded universe
It showed
anywhere.
up in the expanded universe first,
Oh, it did.
specifically the comic books, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually read uh, Wolverine versus Predator a little while ago. It's like a
Hmm.
4-issue run. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll be
it's a good
interesting.
pairing.
That'll be interesting to read. Is having a Predator going up against Wolverine.
Yeah, it's something like I think they did battle like every something like every 30 years or something like that.
Hmm.
They would just find each other again and have another fucking just big
Well,
battle.
technically, they could do that now. They could,
Yeah,
because Predator and Wolverine are both owned by Disney now.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like pretty like 99% of everything.
Unfortunately, that is true.
Like it's got to be getting close to a monopoly at this point, right?
Yep. Which is frightening.
Yeah.
There has to be some kind of regulation or law that says that they can't do that.
They seem very picky as to when they try to use the whole monopoly law thing.
I don't know, dude. It's just, I mean, Disney owns Pixar, Marvel, um, 21st Century Fox,
Yeah,
which owns Star Wars
yeah.
and Alien and Predator, as well as long as a slew of other things. They own so many fucking things, and now we're finding out that Sony might even buy Warner Brothers.
Because what it's Discovery owns Warner Brothers at the moment.
No, Discovery owns Universal.
Okay, I always forget. Yeah,
Warner
just
Brothers is
oh,
by themselves right now.
I swear they were owned by. It's could have sworn someone. Actually, I don't know. It gets confusing.
Yeah,
Like it's so many like
Discovery owns
buyouts and shit.
Universal. Warner Brothers, I don't know who owns them.
Or is it? Isn't it like Warner Brothers Discovery or something like that?
I
Maybe
don't
that.
think so. Wait, actually, you know what? No, you're right. Discovery owns Warner Brothers.
Because then, because I think Warner Brothers owned HBO, and that's where like it gets confusing, especially in recent like the last decade or so.
Yeah, Discovery owns Warner Brothers. You're right.
Which is weird, isn't it? You would have, like, I would have said, who's the bigger company, Discovery or Warner Brothers? Yeah, Warner Brothers for sure.
Yeah, but
Apparently
Discovery
not.
owns them.
Yeah.
Yep. But Discovery also owns Universal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. If you'd posed the question, I would have said both Warner Brothers and Universal were much bigger than Discovery.
But Discovery owns them both, so aha.
Yeah.
So if anything, Discovery is the bigger company.
Yeah. If you want to make money, nature documentaries and travel documentaries and so on. Just printing money.
Yeah. Have Benedict Cumberbatch do a documentary about penguins and then mispronounce penguins. You
And
remember that?
Cumberbatch. I think you said Cumberbatch.
Did I say Cumberbatch?
I think
It's Batch, right?
it is.
Batch, botch, whatever. For all I know, he could be bitch.
Benedict Cumberbatch, take that, motherfucker.
I mean, I like Benedict Cumberbatch, but I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just,
I haven't seen him in much, but everything I've seen him in, he's been solid.
I mean, I like him as Doctor Strange. I
Yeah,
mean, I liked him as Sherlock, even though I wasn't really the biggest fan of the most recent season of Sherlock. I
I've
say
never seen
most,
that one.
I
Like
say
the
most
show in
recent
general.
season, even though that season came out like 10 years ago.
Wait, at least, yeah. I was gonna say I haven't heard of that show in a long time.
Yeah. Although the actor, the villain of that season was played by Lars Mikkelsen, who was Mads Mikkelsen's brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll look see if I know him.
Yeah, he played Grand Admiral Thrawn in Ahsoka season 1,
Yeah,
the
so they've
Star
both been
Wars
in
show.
Star Wars at some point
Yes,
because Mads was
Mads
in Rogue One.
Mads Mikkelsen was in Rogue One, and Lars Mikkelsen played Grand Admiral Thrawn in Ahsoka. And I think he also played Grand Admiral Thrawn in the animated show Rebels. He was good in Rebels, from what I heard, but in Ahsoka, they completely butchered his character.
I am
And
shocked.
and it is the reason why I have completely given up on Star Wars. Because Grand Admiral Thrawn is my favorite Star Wars character, and they ruined him. So
Was it like
Star
was it
Wars
like a
can fuck off.
Was it a case of like neutering the character, or just like sort of making him a nothing character?
Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Star Wars lore is supposed to be a brilliant military tactician who is like an expert at military strategy and tactics.
Yeah.
Many of the victories that the Empire had against the Rebel Alliance were because of him. Like, like he was an expert at outsmarting the Rebel Alliance. And whenever the Rebel Alliance managed to outsmart Grand Admiral Thrawn, it was considered to be a massive achievement. Like, it took extreme effort to outsmart Thrawn because of how good he was at strategy and tactics. But in the Ahsoka show, whenever Thrawn had a plan, strategy, tactic, or whatever, the main characters of the Ahsoka show were outsmarting him at every single turn, at every single chance. And every time they outsmarted him, Thrawn was looking at some hologram or some view screen, and he was just going, all part of my master plan. And I'm like,
Yeah, like, is it though?
what master plan? To get outsmarted at every turn, you freaking twink? It's just like, I mean, they freaking neutered him. They neutered him. It's just like they made him weak and incompetent. I freaking hated
So it,
that.
it's not like a case of like he's smart, but they're smarter. He's just incompetent.
They made him dumb so that they
Yeah.
could make the heroes look smarter. The heroes were dumb, but they made Thrawn dumber to make the heroes look smart.
It's not how you make a good villain.
Yeah. I hated that they did that. I hated it. It pissed me off to no end. It's like, how dare you do that to Thrawn? That is a massive insult to his character.
Did you watch Andor season 2?
I did, yes.
I've only seen the first 4 so far, but I enjoyed what I've seen so far.
Okay.
Does it
I
like
watched all of season 2. It had a bit of a rough start, but it got better as the season progressed.
that fucking wedding went on way too long?
The wedding was a pretty impactful moment, especially for Mon Mothma, because
It was. I just didn't need to see so much of it.
the wedding itself, I didn't need to see. I didn't like it either, but that dance scene from Mon Mothma, I liked that scene.
Yeah, it was pretty much that, and a couple other scenes were all that was necessary. But we basically had to see the entire day's proceedings, and I was just like, come on, move
Yeah.
on already.
I also liked the speech that Mon Mothma did when she called out the Emperor. I liked that. I thought that was pretty good. And then when Cassian helped her escape Coruscant, that was also pretty cool.
Because what this, I've got them all sitting there. 12
Wait,
episodes.
oh, god damn it. I just fucking spoiled it, didn't I?
Eh,
Damn it. You had just told me you only watched the first 4 episodes. God damn it.
yeah. I was gonna stop you, but I was like, meh.
Damn it.
Like it
There
could
I
be a
go
bit
again,
before I get to it,
spoiling
though.
shit. Fuck.
It's easy to do.
Yeah, I know. I'm so good at spoiling shit. That's me, the spoiler.
What
But
haven't you seen? What do you want to see? Well, let me ruin it for you.
yeah, but no, the show is pretty good. I like how it ended. No spoilers anymore. No spoilers anymore. But I will say this: when you get to the end of season 2,
Hmm.
go directly into Rogue One.
Yeah, that was always my plan.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah,
from
that's what
memory,
I
was the
did.
last Star Wars movie I really liked. I
Yeah.
didn't hate
Rogue,
Solo.
huh?
Solo wasn't terrible. Solo. It wasn't terrible.
Oh, I just got a response from Stone. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But okay. But no, Solo. I watched. It was okay, but I wasn't really the biggest fan of the actor that played Han Solo.
Like, he was good enough, but yeah, like, it was all right. Like, wasn't fantastic, wasn't awful. And that's pretty much my review of the movie as well.
Yeah. I thought the villain of the movie wasn't bad.
What's his name?
Paul, I can never pronounce his last name. He's the guy that plays Vision in the Marvel movies.
Yeah, Paul Bettany?
Maybe.
Something like that, I think.
Yeah.
And then,
Then
what?
there's what's her name? Amelia Clark. Amelia Clark was also in the movie.
Yeah.
And
And,
apparently she was Han Solo's first love before he met Princess Leia.
mhm.
Yeah. Which,
I thought,
I mean, they're going to do nothing with that character ever. Because that's just an example of
morning.
morning.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
We just talking Star Wars.
Yeah, we're talking Star Wars.
Yeah, Donald Glover was a decent Lando, I thought. But
Yeah,
it still, it felt a little, uh, not caricature, but it felt a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, like a bit of an impression, which, it was,
also
but
like he didn't feel natural. He felt like he was imitating Billy
a,
D. Williams.
a bit, yeah. But then
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have wanted it another way either, because you want Lando to be Lando, so you kind of have to do it a certain way.
Yeah. I don't know.
You
It's
needed,
just I thought in regards to like his appearance, like his hairstyle, his goatee, his costume work, he sold the role in regards to his appearance. But in
yeah,
regards to his performance, could have done better.
yeah. Like he definitely had like certain cadences and stuff down right, but
Yeah.
just felt a little cartoonish.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
I
Cartoonish.
would say the one who did the best in the entire movie, and I'm probably gonna get some eyebrow raising for this, Chewbacca.
Wait, he did the best or the worst?
The best.
The best. I
The
mean, yeah,
actor the actor they picked to play Chewbacca in that movie probably did the best job.
yeah. Though to a point, that is a bit of it's a bit easier of a role,
It
really.
is. That's why I'm saying he was the best. They didn't
Yeah,
even get Peter Mayhew to play the role. They picked some Finnish actor to do it. I can't even remember his name. But
I guess Peter Mayhew would be what, like fucking like 90 or
actually
something now.
I think by the time they did Solo: A Star Wars Story, Peter Mayhew may have already passed away.
Yeah, and he was pretty damn old when he passed away, right?
Yeah, I think he was like mid to late 80s when he passed away.
Yeah, so it could have been a thing like they probably would have been maybe able to get him to do the voice, but
Oh no,
as far as
they didn't even use his voice to do
that's what I mean.
Chewbacca.
Like that's probably the best they would have gotten.
Yeah,
Like when you're in your 80s, you're like, really, I got to be in this fucking hot woolly costume on set all day.
yeah. But no, well actually in Force Awakens, they didn't use Peter Mayhew in that either. They used the same guy they used in Solo: A Star Wars Story. They used that Finnish actor.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wonder when the last time he would have played Chewbacca was.
I think they used Peter Mayhew only in like certain scenes. They used him not in like high action scenes. They used him in scenes
Like
where Chewbacca would be like sitting down.
just sitting or just standing around, not doing much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In high action scenes, they'd be using that Finnish actor.
Okay. Yeah, I
As the
mean, I get that.
Because the Finnish actor was like, I think he was like in his 20s or in his 30s.
So much, yeah. The guy was
Yeah.
actually like definitely still more than capable of doing action.
Yeah.
Whereas Peter Mayhew is just like, really, like, what do you? I just read the script. You can't expect me to do all this.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we went from talking about Predator to talking about Star Wars. Jim
Eh.
is gonna love this. He's gonna freaking have some words for me later.
How dare you? I expected Predator. You give me this. I
I've
spit on
been
your show.
I've been a bad boy. Right, but back to Predator. Um, let's see. So, let's see with Prey. I don't know. It's just I would say do you think that her tribe, like the warriors of her tribe, would have survived if they approached going after the predator a different way? Like, do you like? How do you like? Do you think they like? How do you? How do I word this? Do you think they should have gone after the predator with a different strategy?
Instead of just sort of straight up combat.
Yeah. Do you think they should have like taken taken a strategy out of Naru's playbook and tried guile and stealth and just like patience instead of just facing the predator head on? Do you think they should have tried a different strategy than just going head on?
I mean, it's the only way you can do it, really.
Yeah.
Because as I said, like essentially, whether you got at that time, you could have bow and arrow, you could have tomahawks, whatever it is. It's essentially all just variations of sticks and stones,
Yeah.
which they're just not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Not
But
even the bullets at the time,
but
obviously.
the thing is that with stealth, with guile, that kind of thing, few numbers are a good thing. If you have a lot of people doing the same thing with that kind of strategy, you're just going to end up causing, what's the expression? Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, my question is that how do you think they should have gone about it if it wasn't just Naru doing it? Like, how do you think they would have done it?
It's a good question. It would have had to have been like a combination of like laying traps and like
Okay.
stealth, laying traps. And then like once you've sort of got it trapped in a certain way, then the tools you were previously using could be effective. But when it's just roaming free, you're fucked.
Yeah, because it has the advantage with all of its weaponry.
Yeah, like if you can get it stuck for even 30 seconds, then then you've got the leg up. Welcome, Stone, again.
Yeah, welcome, Stone.
Hey,
Yeah, we're back to talking about Prey.
what's this artwork in the back?
I'm sorry?
What's the artwork in the back? From
Oh,
that?
it's a predator. I think it's specifically the predator from Killer of Killers.
Hold on, I'll put up the overlay for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the posters. I wasn't sure which one to use, so I just went with this one because it probably looked the coolest.
Yeah.
All right. But again, my apologies, guys. I just totally blanked. I didn't know what was happening, and like I said, I messaged last night, and like I guess the message didn't quite land or anything like that, so I wasn't sure what was going to be happening. So
I only just realized I didn't reply when you said that before. I was like, ah,
yeah,
shit! I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we have StreamYard back for the time being.
Yep.
yeah, because I'm just wanting to make decisions because I'm like I said, I'm really pent up. I really got because I got these ideas and a few more, and like I just got up with somebody I know, and I know Jim is doing some things and learning some things and learning some software, but I did get in contact with someone finally contacted me locally because I've been getting these weird ass random. Most of them been random. Some of them been people I've actually known, but some of these have been really random. A bunch of digital creators that are basically friend requesting me on Facebook, but then there's like they're not messaging me for anything. So I finally like tried to gather them all up in a group chat and was like, okay, if there's anyone here that's got something going on that's trying to collaborate or work together in some way, just message me individually or something. And saying finally somebody heard, saying read that, took it to heart and actually did. And she's actually pretty good with the digital art, saying everything like that. So I mean, really feel like it might be someone great to work with, somebody definitely extra to have in the fold that has these skills now, especially while, Jim is sharpening up. I'm not sure what status that is on right now, but I mean, she's definitely pretty good. I mean, I even feel pretty damn confident that this dear old bear passion project that I've been, that I've been toiling with for a long ass time can actually start to come to life a little bit, because that's really what I needed, was somebody that could really create those bears from me, because I'm pretty overall. I mean, I've got limited skills, but I'm pretty fucking garbage at at drawing overall though.
Yeah, like I've always loved drawing, but mine's always been more cartoony than anything. I'm good at drawing cartoons, and that's about it.
I'm good at graffiti and abstract art. You seen the way you seen the way I was able to recreate Starry Night with just colored sand and glitter and whatnot. So I've got limited skills, but compared to some people, I'm garbage though. But when you give me like I said, a real weird creative abstract project, then yeah, like you seen that, what I'm saying? Like that, my mom was so ready to recreate Starry Night. It was almost like I went in a damn autopilot as soon as I got the fucking sand that I wanted. So
It's
it
like,
was just
I
like,
understand the assignment. I know in my head I know what I'm doing.
oh yeah,
Just
it was
clicks.
just like it was total autopilot after that. As soon as I got what I needed, it was just like I just knew exactly where I wanted everything to be. It was like, but you get me trying to really just kind of sketch somebody and do all of that. Yeah, that's where I'm ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like if you want to look like a Dragon Ball Z character, I'm your guy. But aside from that, no.
I'm a way better photographer than I ever was a graphic artist, I guess. but yeah, just saying, she's pretty. That she's pretty good. I'm just now just with that and with that, I'm just starting to get really like pent up energy. And the more shit that I'm seeing, the more shit that I'm seeing as far as music and everything like that, the more I just want to fucking want to fucking get on there and just start putting out more content, man. You know what I'm saying? And especially with having this time in the daytime or whatever, and even some time in the nighttime, like to be able to get some things done to accommodate schedules and whatnot. I just want to get jamming. And like I said, if Avenue is the one, I want to go ahead and go at. And like I told you guys, even if I got to foot that for the most part, I'll, you know what I'm saying, I'll do that because I just want to get going. And you know, that's why I'm being honest, because it's not a sneaky thing. But like I said, as you know, and as I've said, I can't monetize in my region. So, you know, like you're my guy. I'm really relying on you, man, to help me. I got a brand on my channel and possibly monetize on your channel, which I don't mind. But this is my plan.
Yeah.
Plan to flood the fuck out and just monetize and bring a lot of musical conversations, over to your channel if possible, and mine, but definitely yours. We can actually get money on your channel. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Facilitates growth a bit better.
Super chats. No street walking, folks, but super chats.
Oh, no street walking? Damn.
No, we've seen that. We've seen that done. We've seen what people are willing to do to pander. It's disgusting. We've had it on our show. We've had it on our show. That streetwalker's on our show. You know it. You know it, and I know it.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. It's troubling. It was just troubling. It was pathetic. It was pathetic almost. Well, I mean, can we even say almost? I think we were definitely there. I mean, that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm just being too hard on the situation. But at any rate, I'm not going to bring back old memories, reheat old fries or chili cheese fries in that person's case.
Oh, what?
I wouldn't mind some chili cheese fries.
Is that a jab at me?
No. You never street walked?
Wait, wait, hold on. No, I never street walked. Who's the jab at chili cheese fries? Wait, hold on. Okay, I got it.
All righty. The guy that treated almost every episode like it was a mukbang.
Yeah, I figured it out. It took me a minute, but I figured it out.
And by the way, I'm sorry. Now, I will admit now. I don't want to now. Sorry, I apologize, guys, because we can get back to the Star Wars because totally good with that. And I just want to let you know that.
No, I think we got back to Predator finally.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I had said that I wasn't going to go down that rabbit hole of Star Wars, and then I got sucked into that rabbit hole like it was a freaking story in Alice in Wonderland.
That was my fault, to be fair.
Yeah. But oh my God. Once I start talking about Star Wars, I start going down that rabbit hole about my annoyance of Star Wars because of what Disney has done to it.
Oh, real quick. Speaking of things in Disney and things like that, and the roundabout connections to things. I mean, like, I gotta speak again. Ryan Coogler, which, by the way, folks, Sinners is already on Amazon Prime, by the way.
Well, wait, is it streaming or do we have to buy or rent it?
Oh, yeah, we gotta rent it, of course, but
okay.
I mean, or buy, but
yeah,
but I'm just saying, man. Talk about like, I mean, like, what do you personally think it is about Ryan Coogler when he makes fucking movies to where it's like they become this juggernaut that no one can stop?
What else did he made?
Well, the only thing I know of is the Black Panther movies.
He and Michael B. Jordan, they sort of have like a relationship the way that Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro sort of like
didn't he also do the Creed movies too?
And Fruitvale Station, all with Michael B. Jordan in them.
Okay.
And both Black Panther movies, of course. Among other things, yeah. So him and Michael B. Jordan, they really have this. They really seem to have this relationship, this pairing up, sort of like, Spike Lee and Denzel Washington at one point, or what I'm saying. It was just like that type of thing that's going on. And so here's a Sinners, which I'm pretty sure now has gone over 300 million by this point, well over that.
362 apparently.
Wow.
Oh wait, that's worldwide, but still.
Yeah. I mean, pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? Pretty damn good for an original, for an original screenplay. You know. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely very tempted to rent it because I mean, that's quite a fucking movie, by the way.
Yeah,
At
it's
least
one I
I'm
would like
hearing.
to get to.
Say again?
It's one I would like to get to. I don't know if I can't really say I've heard anyone say it's shit or they didn't like it.
No, I'm hearing people are ready to own it on Blu-ray.
Talking about Sinners, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I wanted to watch it just because I like a good vampire movie, as long as it's good. And
Irish vampires.
yeah,
From what I
Irish vampire. That's extra good. And also because it has Haley Steinfeld in it, and I like her.
Steinfeld. Back to the Wikipedia.
She's catching the flickety flack.
Yeah. Well, hell, I liked Haley Steinfeld in the Hawkeye show. That was in what was it? Marvel. She wasn't bad in that either.
Oh no, like I said, there's no flack there. Flack on Sinners because she was leaning into her partial black heritage. You know what I'm saying? In interviews, and people was giving her flack about that. I don't know.
What?
I mean, I'm not sure why.
Wait, so apparently she's partially black?
She's got it in her. She's got it in her DNA lineage. I get you could say.
So let me guess. She went to Ancestry.com and she checked her like history, and she's like what, like 8% black?
I can't
I mean,
confirm
based
that.
on the picture I just looked at, 8 seems way too high.
Yeah.
I can't confirm that, but
I just threw 8% because it's an arbitrary number.
well, did kind of come in that I was 8% East Asian, so I mean, yeah.
Look, I never went to Ancestry.com. I never did that whole like questionnaire or whatever, so I have no idea what is like my ancestry, but I do know like where my family came from, and I can promise you this. It is a large percentage of white.
So let me
So
guess.
that's why you look like a ghost.
So let me guess. You guys are from Djibouti.
Yes.
I don't know. One day I hope to
I'm
meet
being
someone.
sarcastic.
Yeah, but I hope to one day meet someone who's actually from Djibouti. So I'm always looking out. I'm always
Somewhere
looking out for.
down on Stone's bucket list, meet someone from Djibouti.
And so they would be called Djiboutonians. Djiboutians. Was that?
I would like to hope that the people from Djibouti are called the Djibouts.
Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably evolved it. If anything, if they go that way, they ought to just be Djiboutios.
Oh, man.
Just saying, just a veiled weird random reference to the New Day, but even though I've always hated the Bootio, the Bootio gimmick, but for this one, it just worked. The coin this worked for this moment, but but by the way, speaking of Star Wars,
Yeah.
saw this video on what the Phantom Menace did to the young Anakin Skywalker character.
What do you mean?
Well, are you talking about the actor or the character?
The actor.
Oh yeah, I already know
Oh,
what happened to what's his name? Yeah, he has schizophrenia.
But I mean, the bullying, the bullshit that he went through
Yeah,
yeah,
with being
that
like,
kid got a rough deal.
yeah, he did. Yeah,
I mean, I
it's
mean,
fucking tragic what happened to him.
So did the guy who played Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, that guy actually attempted to commit. Well, I don't know if he attempted, but there
Yeah,
was this.
I think you're right. I think he did say that, or he at least like many times thought about it.
Yeah, he did. There was a situation where he came close to attempting suicide. Like he was like on some bridge, and he was thinking about jumping off of the bridge. Yeah, he didn't, thankfully, and
No,
I was very happy to find out that he didn't do that. I was like, dude, look, I never had a problem with Jar Jar Binks. I never had a problem with him. I was like, I was like this.
I always did, but I would never, I would never,
I
yeah, like give someone
I
that kind of shit.
look, I thought the character was funny, and I thought he was intended specifically to cater towards the enjoyment of children. That children would find him funny. And I was a kid at the time when that character was introduced to me, so I thought he was funny. I was a kid, I thought he was dumb, and I thought he was funny. So it was fine. And now that I'm an adult and I go back to those movies, I thought whatever. I thought it was fine. I thought it was funny. And he never bothered me. Never did. There were plenty of other characters in the prequel trilogy that I thought were dumb as shit in the
Yeah.
in a bad way. And and one of those characters was the adult version of Anakin. I thought that shit was I thought he was I'm not going to say the word. I'm not going to say the word. But special. I'm going to say the
Oh,
word
okay.
special. It's just like, oh my God.
special.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that, that whole love story between Anakin and Padme in Attack of the Clones has to be one of the creepiest, most forced love stories I have ever seen in any movie franchise I have ever seen in my entire goddamn life.
Oh yeah. It. I watched the riff tracks of those movies like semi recently, like last year or so. He's so grapey.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
talking so weird. He's just like, yeah, I really love you. I want to do stuff to you. And she's like, that's cool. And he's like, no, seriously, I love you so much, and I want to I just want to bury my face in those. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. And then 5 minutes later, she's just like, I love you too. Let's get married and have kids. What?
Oh my God! I cannot believe that that his whole courting process with her fucking worked. I cannot believe it because anyone who attempted that shit in real life would be taken away in handcuffs. It's just
Well,
like,
yeah, you'd have a face full of mace, or you would have been tased, or
yeah, yeah,
beaten up by your boyfriend, whatever it may be.
pepper spray to the face, so
Yeah.
fast. It's just like, what the fuck?
No, it's really not a good message to be sending. Just like, yeah, no,
No,
you could be
no.
creepy and awful and kind of abusive as well, and they'll love you eventually. You just got to keep at it. Just don't give up. Be your best self.
Or make it rain.
Oh man, it was so goddamn creepy. It was so creepy. I hated every second of it. I hated all of it. It's just, ugh.
Because it's not even like she's into it. Like she's clearly like uncomfortable and shit. But then all of
But
a
it's just,
sudden,
there was that scene where they were in the dimly lit room and she was wearing this very provocative dress and Anakin was sitting right next to her being all desperate, telling her how much he loves her and how much in pain he was because he couldn't be with her. And she was just like trying to go back, get away from him, and she couldn't because she was in conflict or something. And that
yeah,
entire fucking scene, I was like, dude, she is completely uncomfortable. Back the fuck up. It's just like, what the fuck? It's like, what the hell?
It's like, I get it. When you were a kid, she gave you some feelings you didn't understand. Maybe some things went like, but you
I,
can't be
I,
like this. It's
I
not
was
gonna.
I had to sit there and watch that shit, and I was just sitting there wondering who in the writers' room approved this shit. I was like I would have to stand before George and say, dude, go back and rewrite this
Like,
because nobody fucking talks like this.
this is meant to be for the kids.
This
Who is this for?
this
What
is
kind of
sending
fantasy is
the
being lived out
wrong
on screen
message.
right here?
This is sending the wrong message. This is basically creating a whole new generation of stalkers.
And then, yeah, I mean, look how things turned out. It worked.
Yep. Oh
Yeesh.
man.
But yeah,
Oh
the Jar Jar guy actually seems pretty cool. I think I
yeah.
follow him on Instagram. But he also came back in, I think it was an episode of The Mandalorian. I think it was The Mandalorian.
Yeah, he was in an episode of The Mandalorian.
He was like a Jedi at the start of one of the episodes.
Yeah, he played a Jedi that helped Grogu escape the Jedi Purge.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And
He
he's
comes up with
I think the fact that he is black kind of makes it less bad how kind of racist Jar Jar is as a character. There's some weird like tropes in those movies. Like what's his name? Who's the guy that owned Anakin and his mother? Well, I say guy.
Watto.
Yeah,
Watto.
Watto was very much like he's like a very much like an Italian stereotype, and there's a lot of stereotypes at play in those movies. And
Yeah.
they sort of under the guise of aliens, so it's like it's okay, I guess, but it's definitely very like
It's okay that he's
it's a
racist.
choice.
He's not human.
Yeah, okay, that's a choice.
Oh man. Which just making that statement just sounds infinitely racist. Or should I say speciesist?
There's no good way to you can't win with that.
No, you can't. Oh man. I just
So,
Just can't get out of this rabbit hole.
no, he
Keeps
can't.
pulling us back in like a vortex.
It's
so,
something. It's definitely
so
something.
allow me with my large hand.
Yeah.
Where were you guys on the Predator? I guess.
Oh, we were talking about like I was asking Damian like what like how
Oh yeah, I'll be
like
back in a second.
yeah like how the warriors of the tribe would go about defeating the predator if like besides how they actually did it in the movie. Like it was a speculation like how they would have done it besides the way they did it in the movie itself. Like how like what other way would they have done it without that wouldn't have gotten them all killed? Like other ways of like how they would have approached the fight.
Hmm. Maybe I'm a little off on the setup then, because we're talking about the Yaoja as a whole, right?
I'm talking about the particular Yautja, um, the one in the movie. Like there's the scene that I was thinking of specifically was when Naru was like she had the flintlock and she was hiding behind a tree and then the Comanche warriors were all on horseback, and they were sort of like running back and forth on horseback, fighting the Yautja with their weapons, and they were slowly getting picked off one by one. I was wondering, how would they have approached the Yautja going up against it in a different manner that wouldn't have gotten them all killed in that sequence?
More, I mean, more guerrilla style overall. A leveled attack. At that point, um, like
What,
some.
my suggestion is that they would have maybe utilized Naru's plan to a point where they would have used stealth, they would have used guile, and they would have done sort of like um what's the expression? They would have I'm trying to think of it. Um they would have jumped in, attacked, they would have attacked, then jumped back, like attack, evade, attack, evade, attack, evade, attack, evade, that kind of thing. Um, I, I can't think of the word I'm coming up with. Is that guerrilla attack tactics? I'm thinking.
I mean, that's why I said overall, but then the tactics, are not standard. So you like I would say when you're dealing with the Native Americans with what I'm saying, with more analog weapons, and you've got the Predator that's got more, what I'm saying, that's got more advanced in close, what I'm saying, in close and distance. You got to get, like, you got to come basically layered. So there's got to be ones back that are basically trying to hit them with arrows, and you may have to, and you may have to, if possible, I'm not sure what else they had available to them, but you would have had to up the levels on what those arrows would, what I'm saying, would be like in their penetration power. And you would have to,
So
huh?
so so possibly utilize some of the Predator's weapons against them, like, which is what they used.
If possible, I mean, if that's the only way you can get another material to create a stronger arrow to go back at them, then I guess so. But the main thing is keeping those guys at distance, getting guys who are, and more than one for sure, 2 to 3 that are agile, I'm saying, that are really agile, athletic, and can deal with close contact battles, to deal, what I'm saying, to deal with them up front while still having the guys at distance. What I'm saying, at the very least.
Yeah.
So I mean, because otherwise you're dealing with Native Americans with analog weapons. So I mean, for the most part, 'cause like I said, I'm even scaling it back to, what if they couldn't get his weapons to use against them? What would their overall strategy would be? That would be my strategy. Not everybody's still moving, because not everybody's still moving around, because he still got weapons with laser targeting on them, that, what I'm saying, that can catch him moving. So it wouldn't be about that. It would be about keeping them partially occupied with 2 or 3 guys right in front of them, and then when there's open moments, still getting those guys at, what I'm saying, hitting in distances with the arrows, hitting them as much as possible. That's how I
Okay.
would go at it.
All right.
Well, I've been playing Far Cry Primal, which is set in 10,000 BC, and there's a weapon in that they could utilize that I think it'd be perfect. It's called a sting bomb, and it's just a bag full of angry bees. Hurl the bag explodes, angry bees. Then you go in for the kill.
There's a problem with that.
That is.
I don't think a Predator would give a shit about angry bees.
Who's not bothered by angry bees?
There's a reason why I don't think they give a shit about angry bees. Their hide.
Yeah, but they're still very annoying.
I don't think that their skin is thin enough to where a bee's stinger can pierce it.
Still gonna feel it though, right?
If it can't pierce the skin, can it really feel
No,
being stung by bees?
I mean, it's sort of like someone with really, really tiny fingers just poking at you. You're sort of like, hey, just fucking stop that. Bit of a distraction while someone, sneaks up with a spear. All right, I take it back. I'm stupid. Shut up.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to. Huh. You know what? That actually makes me think about something. It's just like, huh.
What?
I that that makes me wonder. It's just like, can a predator be bothered by a bee sting?
Should we ask AI?
I don't think AI is going to have the answers we need.
It doesn't have the answers to much.
No.
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
Depends.
speaking
I mean,
of that,
it does, but it's also
What do
completely
we
our word a
so
lot of the
so
time.
what do we learn in iRobot?
oh, speaking of that, did you guys
No.
watch the video of the the guy making out with a android?
I don't see how that correlates with iRobot, but no, I didn't.
No.
Yeah. I watched the video on YouTube. Somebody was reacting to it, and apparently there is a video circulating of a guy making out with a female android during a presentation, and everybody's like applauding and like
So
cheering.
it's totally he's presenting as like, look what you can do with it.
Yeah, it's like a presentation at like some sort of like expo, and I'm like, oh god
You,
damn it! It's
you
just
forgot
like,
the S.
Now I'm going to put her
You-
into Neil mode.
I think you forgot the S. I think you forgot the S on that, Charles.
what? S on what?
Expose?
No, expo, as in
Is
Yeah,
that
not.
I think
is
you
that
forgot
what you
the S
meant?
at the beginning.
Sexpo. Boom.
God damn it! But no. It turns out that this thing's not. This video isn't even real. That the entire video is AI generated, and that it
Yeah.
was used by. It was created by Google's new VO3 like AI thing that they're doing, which is like scary realistic. Like scary realistic. You can't even tell that it's fake.
Like balls deep fake.
Yeah, it's just like it's I'm like, it doesn't
I'm
matter if
telling you,
it's fake. It's like when I saw the video, it's like it doesn't even matter if it's fake. This is going to be real in like 10 years, regardless.
do you ever see people reacting to the most obvious AI shit like it's real? It's like, God, there's a lot of really stupid people in this world.
Yeah.
Like, I've
But
seen some very convincing AI stuff, but it's the really obvious, like, it might as well be, bad CG, or it's clearly just not real in any sense. But you get people being like, "Oh, I can't believe this," or "Wow," and you're like, "Fuck me, how have you survived this long?"
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Surely you would have been tricked into a van as a child or something. Like, goddamn, that brain
Yeah,
ain't working.
but no, it's. I mean, I'll have to send you some of this VO AI generated stuff just to show you how super realistic it is, because it is scary realistic.
I
People have
said it
been.
before. Like, just think of what they have behind closed doors. What that shit can do.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
Because, like, the
But
best thing that they're giving us access to is probably still the shittiest, Like the absolute best that you can access is probably still the shittiest version.
Mhm.
Or Djibouti.
We always come back to Djibouti. What the hell is Djibouti?
Yeah, what's that old jaboot?
I mean, it's an actual. I mean, it's an actual place. Just saying.
Djibouti.
Just happen to have the most one of the most awkward, names ever. It's a fun name.
It is a fun name.
Come on, man.
God. It is oh.
Yep. It's I have to admit,
A
not a whole lot of.
sovereign state in Africa. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, and so admittedly, not a whole lot of white folks out there. So I have to give you that one. So not a lot of white people in Djibouti.
Djibouti. He's a Djibouti, born and raised. Oh my god.
Is this like a recent thing? Like, it was established like, 20 years ago, or is this
Oh no. Just people have when people find their way to weird words finally, it's just it just happens. This doesn't mean that we just discovered it or it just kind of happened, but we just somebody just kind of stumbled upon it, and then people realize there's a there's a Djibouti around.
I was thinking of as a sovereign state. It's like, I got a sovereign state. I'm establishing myself as a independent nation within a nation. What do I call myself? I am the state of Comfort. Yes, that is what I will go by, and that is what we will be.
But see, is that what you equate Djibouti to?
No, but it's
so
ridiculous.
so you call yourself the state of comfort?
I said Comfort.
Comfort. All right. I thought you said comfort.
No, that's a whole other thing, and that's a lot of rainbow flags.
So I mean, okay, so I'm just trying to connect. I'm just trying to connect the fields here. So you feel like Djibouti the name was created to be offensive?
Not offensive. I was just thinking of something silly.
So it was meant to be silly.
It just doesn't seem fun if you're like, yeah, I'm starting a state. I'm going to call it with a very serious nation. I don't know.
Now see before we turn the words, what I'm saying, but before the words bang, which really was more of a describing sound of maybe how explosions go. Okay. And then we have the word cock that initially really only referred to a rooster cockpit, in an airplane. But because of the urban, I guess the urban or modern dictionary and what those words have kind of been assigned to and attached to, Bangkok seems silly now.
It does. I think it would be worse if it was spelled the same, though. Then it would be inescapable.
Okay, well, yeah.
Just because the visual and the sound match up in that case.
But still, I mean, I don't know. So you really feel like the movement of the replacement of a, of the K and an addition of another C makes that word so much different?
I think so. Because once you have that, like, it's one thing to sound like a thing, but when you when it looks like Bangkok, COCK, and it sounds like it too, then it's just double bad.
Wait, hold on. So we went from Djibouti, and now we're on Bangkok.
Yup.
Why not? But you don't have to worry about banging cock. You don't have to worry about banging cock in Djibouti.
Oh God. Okay, the only thing I know about
Why?
Bangkok.
Because there's no whites. That's
Okay. All right, hold on. The only thing I know about Bangkok is that when you're a man and you go to Bangkok, you come out as a woman.
that is fact.
Yeah.
The only reason to go there, if
Yep.
that's your,
Yep. That's what
there's
happens.
been many accidents, but
Yep. That's what happens. Damian would know.
I would know. You should all check out our movie that came
Yep.
out officially a week ago.
Yep.
But movie.
What movie? You were in it.
Yeah, you were in it. I was in it.
It came out a week ago.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the same non-motion movie, that was done weeks ago.
Oh, months ago, but it never actually came out.
Yeah. We filmed it, or we recorded it back like last year, and then like Jim sat on it for months, and then he finally released it a week ago.
To where?
Fairly sure it's on my channel. I'm sure it's on the International Rangoon channel, but
Yeah.
let me
The
just
whole
get
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
with a bit of a wraparound.
Yep.
And ba- ba- yeah, it's definitely on my channel. Yeah, I would assume International Rangoon as well. Under The Night Creeps, Friday the 13th, absolute very last episode, and also world premiere movie screening. Nice catchy title.
Bit long-winded.
Bit long-winded, but you get a movie. Go watch it.
A movie.
Yes, a movie that you were a part of.
Of course. I just
In a dual role. Won't say what those roles were, but one of them's a spurler.
I'm just saying, it's just a non-motion picture. Okay. I just still look back. I just wish we had just thrown it out there now, but I couldn't believe that. That's why I really couldn't find it. It just wasn't me being doofy. It was just I just didn't want to ask. I just didn't want to ask
Well,
why I hadn't seen it.
It's out in the wild now.
Well, how's the response on your channel so far?
Let's see.
You can be honest or you can embellish. It's up to you.
Well, we're told people where to find it now. I can't lie. Yeah, we're getting towards 100 views.
I mean, the organic thing, I gotta say,
That's just on this channel.
We probably still compete with we still compete with the pathetic shows on an organic level because we don't really put anything except for the grassroots, marketing, word of mouth type thing, connections to get our views. So we're really doing the pathetic numbers just because of the experiment itself. I think if we actually put money and market it, we could do a lot better. We really could do a lot better. I'm just saying, but like I always say though,
even just a little less laziness on our part would probably go a long way.
But like I said, from 50 to 150, I still I mean, we don't have to limit, but 50 to even 250, even 350, folks. Don't be afraid. I'm just saying. But, I'm just saying, like, especially in the organic space that we're in, I definitely appreciate the views that we get, especially in this organic space, because I definitely haven't put a brown copper. No, it's probably not even copper anymore. Penny into this right now. So, God, I can't even call pennies copper anymore.
Why not? They do in England.
Because they're still made of copper.
Maybe.
I heard the pennies weren't even really made of copper anymore. Just saying. That's what I heard anyway.
I was just making shit up. I don't think they have pennies in England. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. Oh, they got pounds. Or quid. What the small ones are, smaller denominations are called.
Whatever pays the price.
Yeah. Flipper a tinny. Oh.
I do have to say that is about the funnest. That's about the funnest variation on a word that I've ever heard. That's why I think I've pulled it into my vernacular now. I don't know why I still have to say it with the. I don't know why I have to still say it with an accent. I'll get over that soon, but I mean, could I say prosy? Yeah, I think I can say, but it feels right to say it. To say
it hits
prosy.
differently, yeah. It almost feels like, yeah, you kind of have to do it that way.
Like there's an implication behind it. Like if you just say prosy, you're going to get that prosy. Just say.
Okay, guys. I think we should. I think we should go ahead and get into discussing Killer of Killers while we still have time. Because I am gonna have to drop out earlier than normal because I actually have a situation on my end that's going to be happening soon. I don't know when specifically, but it's going to be happening in probably the next hour, maybe
Okay.
less.
So where's the orgy?
It's not that. It's a family situation.
So where's the intervention?
I'm not gonna get into it. It's just.
I'm sorry. I was just being.
No, I know you're just kidding. It's fine. It's just it has to deal with a family member, and I need to step away to like help with it. So I have time for now. So I think while I still have time, we should get into discussing Killer of Killers while I still have time.
Yeah.
Be my guest, guys. I will try to be inquisitive, quirky, charismatic, and light on my feet.
Okay, so Killer of Killers. Damian, let's start with you. What is your preliminary thoughts of Killer of Killers?
Hate the frame rate.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. The frame rate of Killer of Killers was choppy. I didn't really care for it. I thought it. Look, I'm a PC gamer. I play games on the PC. Frame rates are important to me. Whether it be frame rates in a video game or frame rates in my viewing content of shows and movies, I want good frame rates. If you give me shitty frame rates, I'm going to call that shit out. And frame rates being bad is never a good thing. So when this show had shitty frame rates, I was like, oh, you bastards. It's just like, man.
I'm trying to think of what it would be, because like most film and TV is 24 FPS, I believe. And then like, then your TVs
it's about 24 to 30 frames.
Well, I think it's typically 24, and then things like your TV or whatever will upscale it to 30.
Yeah.
but I think traditionally it's 24. So this would have to be it would have to be sub 20, I would imagine. Like
Yeah.
maybe
I'm
20.
I'm
It's ju-
getting I'm getting that that it seems to be best between 30 and 60.
60 is actually best for like games, especially on PC. Anywhere between 60 to 120.
Yeah, for film content, it gets that soap opera look.
Yeah.
Just like like I think most TVs typically have a. It's titled differently for different things, but they have like a frame smoothing option, which basically puts things at like 60 frames a second, and it just looks weird and unnatural.
Yeah.
Makes things look cheap,
Yep.
like really cheap. Works for certain things, but most things it just looks cheap.
Kish, that is an interesting callback. The only person that has ever ruined a franchise would have to be Scott Bakula.
Oh, Scotty, no.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. It's just the frame. But the thing is that even though the frame rates were pretty bad in this show, I did eventually get used to them.
I didn't. I thought I would, but I didn't. Like, I didn't notice it as much as it went on, but I did still notice it.
Yeah.
Didn't ruin my enjoyment of the film. It was just a little thing where I was like, yeah, why'd you have to do that?
I got used to it by the samurai plotline. I got used to it by then.
I'd say maybe close to the end for me was when I was sort of most used to it. Still
Yeah,
noticed it, but it
by
was
the time it got to the World War II storyline, I didn't even notice it anymore.
Because but think on that. Think on that.
Yeah. But
I mean, think on why though.
why?
Yeah, think on why it basically it didn't rise up as much in the World War II as opposed to the samurai part. I mean, was there a ninja? Was there a ninja version of this, or was that implied in the samurai part?
yeah. The three segments were basically Viking, which you know what that entails. Uh, then the Japanese part, which had like it was like a mixture of ninja and samurai,
Yeah, it was a mixture of both.
and then World War II was mostly dogfighting in planes.
Yep.
So like I said, I mean, because I would definitely say it would play more of a part, especially if you're dealing with how ninjas move. It would be something that it would, unless you're trying to create. Now, I would say I would use frame rates to create an effect, especially when dealing with ninjas more than anything. If I wanted to create something that, you know what I'm saying, that mystified them, I probably would lower the frame rate from what I'm, you know, say from the visual images that I'm getting anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just refreshing myself, because that's not really, I guess you get more into that when you like you said, when you're doing more of that, you know, say serious recording work and so on and so forth and things like that. So, you know, but yeah, overall, I would probably say, just to kind of create a little bit more of an effect, you know, saying mysticism to them, I probably would slow, you know, just slow down the frame rate just to create that in a way. But
So you're saying
otherwise,
that, so you're saying the drop in frame rates was like intended.
Oh, it's definitely a creative choice, but I don't
Okay.
know. Well,
it
at
could
least I
be,
think. I just
but
don't know
what
what
I'm
the
saying is,
intent.
if you felt like you could see the differences more before, and then it was like it wasn't really affecting you in like the World War II. I think it's because I think like a sort of period thing that sort of slowed down and things of that nature, it might not be as negatively affected by a slowed frame rate with as
Well,
something with.
it's not necessarily that it's slow. It's sort of it's moving at a regular pace. It's just kind of
But the frame, but like I
kind of
said, the kind of explain.
jittery, I guess.
But see, that's the kind of explain. They kind of explain it in a way that that can connect to somebody who doesn't have a working knowledge of it. I'm not saying like the frame rate slows the actual scenes down, but because you can't get enough frames in at that point, the clarity is off. But because of the, you know what I'm saying, but I feel like because of the frame rate and the way things are moving on its own, you know what I'm saying? I seriously believe that you could still, I don't think that, I still believe that in its own way, because of the constant movement. See, it's not so much of how fast the scenes are, but with ninjas themselves in the scenes, they move faster. So as they move, if you can't get enough frames in there, it's going to blur them. But do you feel the same way with, you know what I'm saying, with an old World War II airplane and the scenes that you create with that? Like with that plane moving and doing the things that it's doing, do you feel like a slow frame rate automatically would just blur it? I mean, you have to go, I mean, you go low enough, it will. But if we were at, say, I don't know, 20, would you notice?
Well, I think this was at least at 20, if not lower.
But
No, it wasn't below 20. I can tell you that
Wasn't
much.
below.
No, it wasn't. I'd say it was higher than 20.
Maybe 20.
Yeah, trust me, it was definitely higher than 20.
And
Kind
you
of been
feel like
much higher, like maybe 21.
And you feel like
No,
a world,
it was higher than that.
and you feel like
You
a
think of
World
the
War II.
difference, like 3 frames is, yeah,
No,
maybe.
it was higher than
Like,
20.
maybe 22 at the max.
No, it was higher than that.
At 20, like 23 and 24, you like one frame would be barely
I would say it was probably like around 23.
So I mean you're but not on trend though. But not completely on trend.
I'm telling you, it's just like, I mean, I'm basing this off my experience with like drops in frame rates in video games, though.
Gotcha.
Yeah, me too.
And I have seen drops in frame rates in video games go sub 30 FPS.
Okay.
And frames going below 30 FPS in a video game are very, very bad. And
Okay.
in like I know it can't be compared to a movie, but judging by what I saw in the movie, it's in Killer of Killers, that seemed to me around 23, maybe 24 frames.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like typically things are 24.
Yeah.
They just upscale by whatever you're using to view it on or play it through. Like that's the way these things usually work. So I don't know, just one frame less seems too little.
I don't know. It's just that's what it seemed like to me.
Well, speaking
But then again, I'm
guess,
basing this off of my knowledge of frame rate drops in video games, so it may not even be the same animal.
Well, let me ask you this.
That's what I'm thinking, because like that would equate to, let's say, yeah, like it's upscale. That would be, I guess, 29 frames a second instead of 30.
Yeah.
That I don't know. That just seems too much.
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this: have either one of you guys seen the Nintendo game Double Dribble?
No.
I know of it. Don't know if
I've never even heard of it.
There's a part. Now there was a constant part in that game where when you got close enough to the basket, it would create this switch in the screen in the scene where you would see your player, or at least a silvery gray silhouette of a player that's approaching the basket attempting to dunk. And the way it was moving and the frames, I like I said, I know overall that there's very little correlation to the actual speed, of the scene itself and the frames per second. But I have to say, even looking at that back then, like they really took a moment to, I feel like, slow down the scene where the guy's coming up and he's dunking and the way he's kind of going in. It seemed like they really slowed the motion to lessen the frames per second. Because just the way it was coming, because I mean, when somebody come up for a dunk, you expect a more smoother motion, a more dynamic motion, but it was really just even when somebody contested it and they were able to block your dunk, it was really just a lot of in the situation like this the whole time, like they were. It was almost like in our conversation, not because I had no idea back then of why it was, but I always noticed it. But and I just feel like I felt like they intentionally slowed down the motion, you know what I'm saying? The dunking scene, so they didn't have to put so many frames in that to make it a more smooth, to make it a smoother motion when the guy was coming to the basket to attempt the dunk, in my opinion.
It's definitely possible. Like I don't think frame rate, because that was that the original? No, that was Super Nintendo, right?
With what?
With Double Dribble.
No, that was the original SNES.
It was the yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
excuse
think
me.
frame rates were as much of a thing back then. I think they were all pretty, like, at least based on my memory of playing most of those games, I think they were all pretty solid. Because really, once we entered the 3D era, that things became
it wasn't an ugly thing. It wasn't an ugly thing at all, but it's just something that you notice. Like when you watch basketball and you see how it goes, it's really not like you expect. You would just expect a smoother, just because in basketball that's what you're seeing. So when somebody's coming to the basket to dunk, I mean, it's just really just a more. It's very fast. It's very dynamic. It's very elaborate sometimes, but like when you played, even as a kid, when I seen it, and it would come to the basket, it was like he was very gray, like silvery gray, going to the basket, and we're going for the dunk, and it was just very eek, 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 eek. You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of thing. And it was just like, wow. I wonder why like I said, no, like even back then, even though I had no tech skills to speak of, I just always wonder, like, why does it do that? Like, why does that happen like that?
I think that's just to allow you to enjoy the moment, to truly just be like, oh shit.
Yeah, but it always felt like, I mean, it just always felt like they were making too much. They were making too much of the moment.
So like it should have been like it dragged out too long.
I would definitely say, and I just always wondered why. And I feel like having this conversation, it makes more sense to me why it kind of happened like that. Now I understand the foundation of it, but I'm just saying, still, it just seemed like it was intentionally slowed down. Seriously,
Yeah, I mean that could have been the case, because especially back then, when turnaround for games was sometimes weeks. Like there was often games it's like it took them like 2 months to make it or less. So it could have been just like they got towards the end, they're just like, like it's going to shave some time off. We got a deadline, so we just
I could tell with the Freddy Krueger game. I mean, they tried to check all the boxes that they could, but the overall look of it, I just wasn't feeling the. I definitely think Nightmare on Elm Street deserves a new video game. I feel
that's one thing I truly hate about this sort of new way of doing video games, but both like that everything takes longer, but we don't get like movie video games anymore. For a lot of them stink, but still we just don't get that stuff anymore because it's it's a fucking $100-200 million investment instead of back in the
we have
SNES
Grand Theft Auto 6 in that regard, where that game cost $2 billion to make.
Really?
Yep.
Jesus.
I mean, when you concentrate too much on the prozzies, that's what you get.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that game is going to cost. It costs $2 billion to make, and it's probably going to cost $100 to buy to compensate for that cost.
What you mean you mean to download?
Yeah, it's going to cost the current rumor is that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to cost $100 base to buy.
So is the budget a rumor as well? Because that,
What? The 2 billion? No. The
yeah, no,
manufacturing budget for the game is $2 billion.
that's like an officially released thing.
Yep, it's confirmed. It
Wow.
costs $2 billion to make.
Well, like, yeah, it's
But
goddamn.
the $100 base of what it might cost, that right there, that's rumor. We don't actually know what it's going to cost when it comes out for the consumer to buy. But the current rumor is that it might cost $100.
Yeah, I could see it, but it's not really like that price trend isn't Rockstar's fault. That's already being starting to be set by other people.
No, the current set price for video games at base price is like $70 to $80. Nintendo is the one that is increasing the price to 80, sometimes 90,
Yeah,
and um it's fucking bullshit. Basically, video games are becoming a rich person's hobby now.
yeah, and it's been
Bullshit.
turning that way for some time now.
I do not pay full price for video games. If a video game comes out, I always wait for a sale price every single time.
It's I There's the occasional thing. It's just like I've been waiting for this for so long. I will buy it as soon as I can.
Oh, I don't even
Most
do that.
most things aren't like that.
I don't do that. I don't. No, I will always wait for a sale price. The only way that I will ever pay full price for a video game is if a game costs $50. I will not pay more than 50
Trying
bucks
to
for
think
a
of the
video game.
last thing I bought, like actually like on release kind of thing, and it
Yeah.
probably would have been, I would say, uh, either the first God of War or Red Dead Redemption, which I think were the same year or thereabouts. But I think that was the last time.
Yep.
There's nothing that's really. I mean, I really wanted God of War Ragnarok, but just yeah, only sort of somewhat recently got around to that.
God of War
No,
Ragnarok
that's
was
more like
God of War Ragnarok was not all it's cracked up to be. I wasn't really that impressed with it.
I was very content with that.
Yeah. I didn't like what they did with Argaboga, that giantess girl, that one that they were
Ah,
trying
yeah,
to pair
yeah. I think we've
with
talked about
Atreus.
this before. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't like what they did with her, where they race swapped her. I didn't like that. Um, I thought her character was fine, but I didn't like that they race swapped her because that goes against the established lore of the original like character from the mythology,
yeah.
and that just felt like cultural appropriation against white people, which I didn't like that. Um, and then um, and then there was what else was it? Oh, there was like a point in the game where Freya and Kratos were having like a conversation on Vanaheim, and Freya was basically talking down to Kratos, like criticizing him and all that. Did you played Ragnarok, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was on Vanaheim, and Freya was constantly talking down to Kratos, and Kratos was not able to like talk to her, like he was constantly stammering over his own words, and he was just like bowing his head, and he was constantly like just like speechless, like he just couldn't talk back, couldn't return his conversation. He couldn't talk back to her, and I was like, this isn't Kratos. Like the
Well,
original.
that like I sort of, if I'm remembering the conversation you're talking about, that sort of it plays into the Kratos that we're seeing now, where he really he's doing everything he can to just suppress his rage as much as he can.
Yeah.
So to the point where, like, he's sort of he
It
just keeps
just didn't
himself
feel
very
like Kratos
reserved.
to me. It didn't. It did not feel like Kratos to me. It felt like Kratos was being a little bitch at that moment.
Hmm.
Kratos can still suppress his rage at that moment and still tell Freya that she needs to get over herself.
Which they did sort of do with the story. Like, they
Yeah.
sort of did, as you spend more time with just the two of them, and even just different things in the story, they did get to that point where it's
Yeah.
sort of like, she stops being all cunty, basically,
Yeah.
and she's just, oh, you've been through some shit too, and he, yeah, I really have. You're not the only one who's lost someone.
Yeah. I just thought Freya was being basically an entitled bitch throughout the entire game, and I thought she was insufferable throughout the entire game. I mean,
I actually,
she did get better later on in the game, but
yeah, that's the thing. Like, because, well, I mean, when you come across her initially, she's basically just completely out of her fucking mind.
yeah,
She's just like, her kid died. Well, yeah, it's just, no, wait.
Kratos.
It was,
Spoiler alert for 2018, but for
yeah,
God of War
it was
2018, but
pre-kids, wasn't it? Because
uh,
Balder, uh, no, the other two were Thor's sons.
yeah,
So yeah, I guess that's the one. Yeah,
yeah,
Magni and
Kratos killed Balder because Balder wanted to kill Freya because Freya gave Balder the ability to not die and feel no pain. And
yeah,
she did it because she wanted to protect her kid so that her kid wouldn't die because she had like some kind of premonition that her son would suffer a horrific fate. And she wanted her son to not experience that fate, so she gave him the gift of eternal life. And that was more of a curse because not only would Balder not be able to die, he could also feel no pain and no suffering, nothing. He could feel
and so
nothing.
it just turned him, yeah, into a monster.
Yeah, he pretty much ended up becoming a psychopath. And Balder wanted to kill Freya for what she did to him. And Kratos became friends with Freya throughout their adventures. And when Balder attempted to kill Freya after the curse was lifted, Kratos killed Balder to protect Freya because Freya was a friend to Kratos, and Freya blamed Kratos for that, which was justifiable, but Kratos didn't want Freya to die.
No,
So,
and it's felt like, your kid, like, your child is always going to be your child, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah,
But eventually, yeah, she came to terms with that. Like, she's just like, I don't think I can ever forgive you, and I think he said, like, I wouldn't expect you to, or something like that. But they came to an understanding
yeah.
where she accepted it. It was what it was,
Mm.
and I was much happier going around with her than fucking Atreus.
To be
Dad,
honest,
why won't you let me do stuff? You fucking dick. You're a dick. You don't know anything. I know
that
everything.
that boss fight in Ragnarok where Atreus has to fight Argoboga's mother, that giant boss fight,
Oh,
freaking
yeah, yeah.
freaking hated that fight because you can only do it with Atreus, and all he has is that measly fucking bow and arrow.
Yep. And it's more
Oh man,
mechanical than anything.
wow! It's like I'm realizing that you're not saying the name, but it just still feels like a never-ending story to me.
Oh, Atreyu.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, Artax. Oh man, I'll never forget Artax.
Oh my god!
Yeah, yeah,
You were such
yeah,
a kid. You
yeah,
were
yeah,
such a kid.
yeah. I remember Artax, and now you have to too.
Oh, of course I remember Artax, but don't be such a kid. The
Hey,
horse, the
hey,
horse, the horse didn't. The horse didn't. He allowed himself to be taken. You know what I'm
hey,
saying? By the
that scene traumatized me.
look. He tried.
To this
He
day, I wake
tried.
up screaming.
He tried. He tried to will him out of there. He tried to get him not to give up. He just let he just let the depression take him. You know.
Artax the horse traumatized all of us.
No, the trauma that was displayed in that scene on Atreyu should have been the traumatizing thing. It was messed up. It was I felt if I felt anything in that moment, I felt for him. Having him sit there and try to get this horse to, you know what I'm saying, to pull himself out of that. To not give in to the nothing. You know, but it did. What can you do? It's messed up. What can you do? I wish they hadn't done that. I wish.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. The sequels to Neverending Story don't even come close.
I feel like I probably watched them as a kid, but I yeah. Can't say I
but why?
recall anything.
I remember that in Neverending Story 3, they had Jack Black. Really? No one's going to comment on that? Okay.
I don't know how to comment on that
Yeah, it's like maybe I didn't see them.
unless
But
he was
then,
singing. Unless he was singing Wonder Boy.
what is the
Which
secret
he
of your
probably wasn't. Which
power?
he probably wasn't, because he was
Yeah,
probably.
well, look, I mean, Neverending Story Part 2 was okay. Neverending Story Part 3 was garbage.
But I guess Jack
Yeah,
Black was in.
direct
I guess Jack was in his
direct
paying
video
dues
sequel.
phase.
No, it wasn't because of Jack Black that it was bad. It was because the character that gets like the little amulet that gives the wishes, yeah, she was an insufferable bitch.
You
I
don't
mean, there's this.
deserve this. Fuck you. I hate this movie.
Yeah, there was a scene in the movie where she gets the like the wishing amulet thing, and she goes into a into like this designer clothing store, and she's like putting on all these expensive clothes, going like, "Oh, this looks really nice," and then she uses it to give herself all the clothes for free, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Like, bitch, that's stealing. I
Yeah,
didn't wish.
God, man, I hated her so much. I did. I hated her. At least in Neverending Story Part 2, they focused more on the fantasy aspect, focusing more in like the like the world. I can't remember the name of the world, but
Yeah, no, that's really testing my memory.
yeah. But I always thought it was kind of cool. But you know what? I actually think that Neverending Story is the movie that like triggered my interest in building.
Djibouti. His
Not
name is.
Djibouti. God damn it! It's just no. Triggered my interest in like storytelling and writing and like world building and all that. I think it triggered my interest in all that. Yeah.
Hmm.
It definitely.
I'm,
It
I'm trying to
definitely.
think of what mine would
It definitely inspired my world building in Djibouti.
Enough with Djibouti.
Well, you know, I certainly got my interest in girls.
Djibouti.
You know what I'm saying? Well, no, well,
Hey, girl, I like Djibouti. Eh?
Eh, eh.
Slap.
no, I'll be taking you to Bangkok.
Punch.
Just thinking on that. Just thinking.
All right, so Stone, do you have any thoughts on Killer of Killers before we draw this to a close?
Oh well. Any thoughts? I think it was a show that
Did you
you
see
watch.
Killer of Killers?
Yeah, did you see Killer of Killers?
I
That's a better question.
I I
Yes.
it, I saw previews.
Oh God.
I saw snippets.
Wow. Okay.
I skimmed reviews.
You're taking a. This is the longest no I've ever heard.
Yeah, it is.
I suppose so.
Okay. All right. So, I don't know, but one thing I will say about Killer of Killers is that the Viking time period would have to be my least favorite time period in this movie.
Yeah,
The samurai,
agreed.
the samurai one would have to be my second favorite. And the World War II era would have to be a good time period, but it's not my favorite.
What?
I put it more on par with the samurai one. Um,
I just
so
loved
yeah,
the. I loved how different it was.
yeah, it
The like
was different,
because
but
it was involving like the air combat instead of
yeah,
hand to hand or weapon to weapon. Like it was something different.
my favorite, my favorite like setting in Killer of Killers is when we go to the Predator homeworld.
That fucking Predator, what would you call it, War Chief or whatever, Warlord.
Yep,
That was a fucking cool looking motherfucker right there.
yeah. I all like any time in the Predator movies or properties or whatever where we explore or experience Predator Homeworld gets an A+ from me.
I liked how they showed like I liked that each Predator we saw was different. But then also when we went back to the homeworld, you just like is it a race or is it more like a because that giant like creature that they had to fight was very predator-esque. So it's like, is it some kind of I don't know, like is that one of them as well? Like, do they vary that much?
I think I don't have enough information to be able to theorize specifically, but I think it might be more or less a how do I put this? Different categories of predator,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
different
thinking. Yeah,
casts. Yeah, like there's a
because
warrior cast, and then there's
hmm.
like a lower cast and all that. Yeah,
Well, yeah, because they had that one that they brought out as like a prisoner who
uh,
seemed kind of weak and
mhm,
you know you definitely yeah, not up there with the warrior types or anything.
yeah,
But then yeah, that creature as well. It was just like it was different enough that you could think it was just some beast from their land, but it was also similar enough that I'd be like, is this just a a different variation? Like a just a different some kind of abomination that sometimes happens.
yeah, maybe. Okay, so
And let me see. I'm just double checking. It's 1:20. I'm trying to be 1:20 our time. I just want to be, what I'm saying, considerate of what you were saying before, also, especially because of my lateness.
It's 3:20
oh
my
right,
time.
yeah. Okay, so overall, I would say that Killer of Killers is probably the best Predator movie I have seen recently. It doesn't top the original
Requiem.
Predator.
Oh.
It doesn't top the original Predator, but it's pretty damn close.
I mean, I just honestly, from what I'm hearing, I definitely would have separated. I think it's kind of weird to kind of put both of them together, like ninjas and samurai. I essentially felt like if you're gonna do the samurai because of what? Because of predators and that fight, essentially, like you got a pretty big, although microcosm, but a pretty big microcosm of like a samurai fighting a predator, you know.
I actually think between samurai and ninja, I think a ninja has a higher chance of defeating a predator than a samurai does.
And that's why you separate. You don't put them together as if they're like, because that's not the history. The history doesn't track to them sort of working together. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
it sort of it ties into because they're I don't know if they're actual brothers or just close friends, but they get sort of played off each other initially, like they're two either brothers or very close friends, and there's this older guy who's making them fight for whatever reason. Seemingly to earn, I guess, earn the right to be a samurai or something. And uh, one puts his sword down or sheaths his sword, his katana, and the other one is just like, no, fuck you, I want this, and goes at him. Then the one flees. They don't see each other for another 20 years, but the other one, like one's been training to be a samurai, the other one's been training in a different way. And then they sort of come to get like, yeah, there's sort of there's a human element to it that makes it make sense.
okay, and I definitely get that. I would just say that again with the samurai and the shoguns and things like that, I think that you could have separated those because I mean, when you think about different movies and like what the predator could have faced, you know what I'm saying? And when you think about like what they could face, like the wall of arrows, you know what I'm saying? Like when you try to get to a fortress and like they do all of those, like the overwhelming number of soldiers in the wall of arrows. And then like I've seen in different movies that somebody would have to kind of deal with. Like that's how they sort of like that's how they sort of bomb out, you know what I'm saying, enemies before going in close contact. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. So and then like with the ninjas, like if they I felt like if they possibly, especially if we're talking about animated, if they could have instituted more of the ninja mysticism, you know, into it, you know, it possibly, and I'm saying this, saying that if they did that, you guys will be able to tell me if any of that was actually instituted. But I just feel like
No,
that would be,
it was more the skill set. They didn't really touch on the mysticism, really.
and I just felt like that would, because I mean, because of their super advanced technology, they have a mysticism themselves. And I felt like, you know what I'm saying, that could have been something that could have been played with the ninjas, but that's something that's long been spoken about, long been lore with, you know what I'm saying, with ninjas, their, you know what I'm saying, their mysticism, their super stealthiness, their super, you know what I'm saying, their super quiet ability, and then even certain abilities and training that go beyond the natural physical skill set, you know.
I mean, they
Like
did
just
kind of they played off that a little bit, like you know, there's certain sequences where the ninja character was like, you know, sort of hiding up in the ceiling away from the predator. The predator doesn't know where he is. Then he sort of tries his attack, and the predator's, you know, heat vision sees a little thing up there and sort of gets him back. And then there's other times where the ninja has the upper hand because the predator can't get that sort of beat on him with the heat. He's in a spot that he can't see, and they do play around with that.
but it's like I don't know, like cause did you guys ever get a chance to see any of the episodes of Ninja Kamui?
No, not yet.
No.
Like I would recommend that because I mean that really gets more into, and even Ninja Assassin kind of plays around with that a little bit
Was
more.
Kamui the Adult Swim one we talked about a little while back? Yeah. Okay.
Tsunami, I mean, whatever, AKA
Well,
whatever,
it's all somewhat in the same bag, kind of. It's all
Yeah,
linked.
animated one where they seem to have where certain I guess the elite ninjas seem to have this skill and whatnot. This they seem to have this basically secret taught skill that gives them certain, that gives them certain like abilities beyond their own physical abilities and things like that. But even a ninja assassin, he was showing them how he cut himself deep in the palm of his hand and then started doing this, and the next thing you know, the damn thing was healed or wasn't there, and things like that. So they sort of play into this mysticism of like what ninjas, evolve into. And I just think that would have been interesting to sort of play with those, to play a little bit more, lean into those thought processes a little bit. At least I felt. And then like with the samurai, like I said, those samurais, of course, are like the elite killers, the elite enforcers of the shogun. But the shogun, like the lore always talked about, because of the elite skill and leadership of the samurai, they sort of develop a bit of a fear and resentment for the samurai. And that's why they have overwhelming soldier numbers just in case.
Actually, now that I think about it, Charles, that guy, he would have been a shogun, right? Not a samurai?
I'm not sure.
'Cause it definitely seemed like some kind of, like almost leadership kind of,
Well,
like
Well,
higher
a
level.
shogun is a leader of the entire territory.
Yeah, which is to me what it seemed like. He sort of inherited that after, like they didn't make it clear what their relation was, right? Between the older guy and the two boys. I figured they were his sons,
I
and
didn't. I
like that was
didn't
a
get
test
that.
for inheritance. But
I didn't get that impression.
yeah, I wasn't quite sure what the relationship was there.
I got the impression that that he was their instructor and they were his pupils.
Okay, because
That
yeah,
was
it
the
sort of seemed
impression
like
I got.
because it was sort of like yeah, like I don't know, because he had like a command over this entire small army within the not a palace, I guess a palace. Well,
Yeah, they would have called it a palace.
yeah, within the palace. And when the old guy died, it definitely seemed like the one that was still there sort of inherited that or took on that role, whereas where he sort of had command.
Yeah, but no, I didn't see him as their father. I didn't.
Okay, yeah, wasn't sure about that. I still, yeah, again, I don't know if they were brothers or just friends. They say brother on
I
it,
did
but
see them as brothers. I did.
yeah,
But not but that older man as their father or even as someone older than that like a grandfather, no. He was strictly their instructor and they were his pupils.
okay. Like I would have liked it to be a bit longer, but I liked, I guess I liked how short things were, but I would have liked a bit more from each one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like even just an extra 10 minutes or so on each piece.
The biggest thing that I had a problem with was that I would have liked to have seen how the predators took each of the humans after they defeated each predator. Because
Yeah, because they only showed Torres.
they only showed Torres when they captured him. They only showed him. They didn't show the Viking. They didn't show the shinobi, the ninja. It's just 1 minute they defeated the Predator. The next they were on the Predator ship. That's it.
Which I did like. I figured out pretty much from when they cut to him what was going on. Sort of like they were collecting collecting, I guess,
Trophies?
collecting warriors.
Oh, warriors. Okay. Also, I
Well,
thought it was kind of.
collecting what they
I thought it
consider
was
the
kind of.
best of the best.
I thought it was kind of interesting that when the Predator ship took Torres, it left behind a crop circle.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
All right.
Ties
Hey,
into,
sorry, guys, for blinking out like that. By the way, how you doing there, Charles?
I'm doing fine. I probably have another 5 minutes before I'm going to have to step away.
Well, awesome. This gives us time to come. Look, all I'm going to say is honestly, I guess in a way, because I mean, we could say science. We could say that the Predator movies and the Yautja, and it's more science. It's more science fiction than fantasy.
Yeah.
But I would still. But would you not? Would you feel like it's out of place that there was a little bit more ninja mysticism, that it would have been out of place?
Yeah. But then you need more time to devote to that if you were going to, because
That's why you separate. I feel like, but definitely. I hear you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because it's a hour, take away credits, at an hour and 20 movie, each segment being like 20, about 25. Yeah, I guess between 20 and 25. Because then you have the whole after each like the current day or whatever the fuck sequence, which is the ending of the movie. So yeah, you could go into that stuff, but you'd need more time.
It's because it's like I grew up like one of the I grew up with a lot of like the ninja lore, like even different from any other martial arts. It was always like like everybody always try to play it now like ninjas are all the same. But when I was growing up, you had like even in G.I. Joe, you had a ninja that was all in black and you had a ninja that was all in white. You know what I'm saying? And the funny part about the ninja in white was the evil one. You know what I'm saying? Based on everybody's thought process on black hats and white hats, the ninja in white and on G.I. Joe was the evil one. The ninja in black was the good guy.
I remember Chris Farley was in once.
Jesus Christ, man. Could we not? I mean, I guess we had to throw that in there. I guess we had to.
Wait, what was the name of that movie? Beverly Hills Ninja?
That's the one.
All right, there it is.
Oh yeah, you just want a bad taste in my mouth, don't you? Yeah, okay, gotcha. Awesome.
Fuck you, that was a good movie. I haven't seen it since I was like 6, but I assume it holds up.
Okay, look, I own the DVD. Okay, I own it. All right. What pisses me off?
So is it really
not Chris Rock's performance?
Movie?
Not Chris Rock's performance. I hate his performance in that movie. You what? You ninja? Like, oh my. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Beverly Hills Ninja. Shit, that. I'm sorry. My
you know what?
God.
I'm gonna go find that movie and I'm gonna watch it now because I have never.
Yeah, Stone, you sold me on it. Just that impression. I was just like, okay, I need to.
Yeah, that's gonna make you. Yeah, okay. I hope it sickens you. I hope it sickens you. But anyway,
I hope it doesn't. Then I can come back next week like, fuck you. You were wrong.
Yeah, okay. Don't sicken you. Trust me. One of the main bright spots was my oh my God, why am I forgetting his name in Mortal Kombat? Why am I forgetting who he played? Liu Kang. Am I getting his name right?
Liu Kang, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat.
he was one of the bright spots in in Beverly Hills Ninja.
Aside from Chris Farley's amazing
Wait,
performance.
wait, wait,
Chris
wait.
Farley was always he's the star. He's the implied bright spot, and he delivered. He delivered. You know what I'm saying? But
Wait.
but like when you have to think about everybody else that was around him, you would
The
think Chris
guy that
Rock.
played Liu Kang in the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie was in Beverly Hills Ninja.
He was assigned to go along on his trip to America to protect him. But a lot of times he would end up getting almost killed by him.
Ah, God, I feel bad for that guy.
So yeah, he was one of the bright spots. He actually
He went from one of the most beloved video game adaptations imaginable to a Chris Farley movie.
he showed his humor.
Why are you going
He
to say
showed-
it like that?
He showed his humor. I believe his real name was Robin Cho. He showed his
Robin Show.
he showed his humor, his charisma. He was great. He was a great bright spot. He was a scene stealer, along with Nicolette Sheridan. She was surprisingly fun in this. I have to admit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but Chris Rock was he was weird as this random bellboy. He really was. He really was. I couldn't believe that was the thing that I liked the least. Chris Rock's performance. But anyway, one of the greatest ninja movies that I've probably seen, even though it was sort of campy in his own way, but it was great. The 5 Element Ninjas.
Never seen that.
Where this other group, this punk ass, this coward ass, you know what I'm saying, ninja, it was, I guess, martial arts clan or whatever, martial arts house, couldn't compete with this other house. All their guys, they would have these sort of like, they would sort of have these little rivalry tournaments and whatnot, where they get their best fighters against the other guy's best fighters, and they would just kind of do these little matchups, and they were getting completely washed by the clan in all white and whatnot. They would just wash them differently. Even had a guy, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I used to love those guys. Those guys that would go against guys with weapons with their bare hands and shit like that. They felt like they were that nice, they were that agile and good that they couldn't even fuck with them like in that range. And so they're getting washed by these guys. And then they had this samurai guy that, you know what I'm saying, like, went up against a guy with, you know what I'm saying, with no hands and whatnot, still beat him. And then that's when but like I said, that's when he all of a sudden got all somber and you know what I'm saying, ego warrior, and he committed seppuku right in front of, you know what I'm saying, right in front of everybody. And then promised them that someone's gonna be coming for them and all this type of shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Sent the other guy to join punk ass move that poisoned them and shit like that. This ring that he caught, but ended up having these little barbs at the end of that poison and shit. It was all weird, but then they went out and got challenged and whatnot. So they went out to these areas, and that's when they dealt with the different elements of the ninjas. They had sun ninjas. They had these sun ninjas dressed in all yellow that had like these umbrellas that had reflectors on it, and they would use that. And they would use that to basically blind you. You know what I'm saying? To sort of blind you and and mess with you that way. You know, they had the water ninjas that would basically use they'll basically use bamboo reeds to sort of like basically move underwater, but then they had this weird agile ability to actually jump out of the water, you know what I'm saying, and get at you and attack you and net you into the water where you were just, you know what I'm saying, where you basically were like I guess it's the reverse term of fish out of water. I guess you were more like a human in water, you know, and so they would kill you that way. They had wood ninjas, these guys that would basically sort of like camouflage the trees and whatnot and attack you that way. You know what I'm saying? And then when you try to basically like you try to stab the trees and whatnot, or you try to do certain things like they would jump out of them, they would move, or the trees that they were in, they were pretty thick or whatever. It was like all this little weird little mysticism. Like they even had fire ninjas that would use these flares. They would basically flare around, bring smoke around you and everything like that. They would light their swords on fire and everything like that and get at you that way. You know, then they had the earth ninjas that were basically underground. They were underground and they would basically stab at you from up. You would try to stab down on them, but they were underground. So you could never basically get a bead on them and shit like that. It was just all these different elements. It was a crazy ass movie. And you know, huh?
I said it sounds like it.
Yeah, and that was just the first like the beginning of the movie where the clan got challenged and everything like that. And you know, yeah, it was like it was a whole thing. And you know how the ninjas could use every little tactic to get you, like even using female ninjas as a way, you know what I'm saying, as a way to infiltrate and everything like that. Yeah, it was a whole bunch of shit, you know, a whole bunch of it. Because they weren't done after the challenge. Yeah, they realized they got hired to you know what I'm saying, to take their whole house completely out, you know, and everything like that. Yeah, it's quite a movie. I highly recommend the 5 Element Ninjas. I highly recommend that. So, but yeah, it just kind of, like I said, so many movies I've seen when it comes to ninjas is always this mystery, this lore, and everything like that. You know, like they had stealth without having any cloaking devices. It seemed like it's always seemed like you could, like they could just disappear in the shadows and you couldn't see them, you know, and everything like that. Like they could just, like, especially in that movie, they moved in such a way, like they were running, dropping from places, and the way they had it going, you could hear nothing. Like you could still hear like the environment. Like they created this effect where you could still hear the environment, but you're seeing them dropping from things, and it's like complete dead silence. Like they're moving there, a whole bunch of them scattering, and you hear nothing. Like not even muting everything out, but you just could not hear them. It was crazy. That's all I'm saying. It was something to behold.
All right, well, I think that is going to be it for me during this rendition of TEE TV. You guys can continue discussing the Predator movies without me, or we can end things here. Whichever you want to do.
I need to refresh myself, and I got in here before a legitimate hour, you know, saying elapsed, and was able to contribute at least another hour and a half or so. So I feel like I atoned. I apologized. You know, right. You know, I had a bit of a late night too. That's another thing I have to admit to.
All right.
You know, this was Friday night was my late night, being out there on the hustle. So yeah, I didn't end up really getting to sleep until about maybe 4 or 5.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I remember that message you sent. I think was quite
3 in the morning. Like it's like 3 in the morning.
Like
yeah, I decided I would, you know, I would send something to you guys because I probably say about 2 hours prior, I was seeing messages from Jim to you guys. So I thought maybe somebody might have been up and might have been able to receive this, you know what I'm saying, within this time frame, but guess not. So I tried.
Yeah, I was still at work.
All right. Well, anywho, to everyone out there watching this, whether it be live or on the VOD, thanks for stopping by and checking out this rendition of TEE TV. Stay tuned next week for whatever we're going to discuss. We'll figure it out and we'll let you know. So once again, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye now.
Maybe
Maybe what?
Maybe it'll be less of a douche next week. We'll see.
We shall see. Don't know what this is, but I'm gonna play it.
Hey, let's go, King Katsuru.